All right, everyone, welcome to Kol Shira, partners with BRI and Yeshiva Teres Shimon, all three wonderful organizations, Baruch Hashem. And we are, it's a new year, and we didn't get a chance to meet till now because it's been the Chagim, and Baruch Hashem, and now we'll begin with Parshas Noach, okay? There's a few things we could talk about Parshas Parashas as well. We'll give an overview of the Parsha, a couple of interesting points, and then, like we always do, we'll learn something inside. All right, so here we go. So Noach is a very, very interesting, a very, very interesting person, right? I mean, the Torah says that he's a tzaddik, right? And the Torah speaks very highly of him, right? In last week's parsha, it says, "V'noach matza chen be'einei Hashem." Right? V'noach matza chen be'einei Hashem. That's very interesting, right? We learned that before, right? All right. What does that mean? That Noach was matza chen be'einei Hashem. That Noach was very, very careful with what he saw, right? He was very, very careful of morality, right? Morality-wise, because again, the Torah says that the generation was hishchis kol basar. Right, that the entire oh, Ernie, how are you, Ernie? Yeah, the entire world was immoral, The entire world. Not only was it the human beings, but it spread to animals
and
plants, and but it did not affect the fish.
Right.
It did not affect the fish. Rav Nosson has a beautiful understanding about that. Why? Because the fish is actually underwater. They're underwater. They're covered. They're covered. It's unbelievable. Actually, that's why when can you please mute? That's why when Yaakov Avinu gave the bracha to Yosef, he says v'yigdu la'rov. Right, he gave the bracha. He said, "V'yigdu larov." You should multiply. Right, Hamalach Hagolasi v'yigdu larov. What does it mean, v'yigdu larov? You should multiply like fish. Why fish? Fish is very good because fish there's no ayin hara. Because when you look at the fish in the water, you're not looking directly at the fish. You see the water. You're looking at the water, and you see through the water. You see the fish. So you're not looking at the fish directly. It's an interesting idea. Interesting idea. Well, let's understand this thing about Noach, really what's going on. There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin on Kuf Ches, and the Gemara, we know that this parsha with Noach, that Yesh Darshan L'Shvach and Yesh Darshan L'Gnai, right? There are those that speak praise about Noach, and there are those that speak not so nice about Noach, right? The Gemara happens to say, and if you look in the Gemara over there, the Gemara happens to be of the idea that Noach wasn't such a great person. Noach was the person that Hashem chose, not for who he was at that time, but for who Noach will be. All right, the Arizal brings down. It's fascinating that the Torah says, right? Okay, that says, "Eila told us Noach." Eila told us Noach. Why does it say Noach's name 2 times? Right? That's one item. The second item is, what is the idea of told us Noach? The Arizal brings an amazing understanding that we know that, and the Arizal has a sefer called Sefer HaGilgulim. Right? It's a sefer of the reincarnations, right? All those that were reincarnated. The Arizal suggests that it's also brought down from the Rav Mipano that Noach was actually was megalgal 2 times, first into Yosef, and into Moshe. Hence, the Torah says like this: Eile, listen. Eile told us Noach ish. What's the word? Ish tzaddik haya tamim b'dayraisav. So he says like this. This is fascinating. Eile told us Noach Ish tzaddik. Who is known as the tzaddik in the Torah?
Yosef.
Yosef. Yosef is known as tzaddik. And then it says Tamim. Who's known as Tamim? Pure. The most pure person in the ever that ever lived, Moshe Rabbeinu.
We say about Yaakov, Ishtam.
I understand, but Moshe Rabbeinu is also known, the Arizal says, as Tam. Tamim. Why was he Tam? Because he was pure.
And Abraham.
Again, this is Avraham Avinu is the next generation, right? He's in the time of Noach. Avraham Avinu is in the time of Noah, right? Avraham Avinu is the Rosh Hamaminim, right? Avraham Avinu is the forefather of Emunah, right? Avraham Avinu came to learn to know Hashem. Avraham Avinu came to know Hashem by himself, right? He came to know Hashem by himself, right? Hashem never came to him. Only after he found Hashem, Hashem came to him. Right? Interesting, right? But so now, what's that?
It's also cool when it says Avram took the first step, like Hashem was always behind him.
Yeah.
But Noach went along with Hashem.
Noach is halech im Hashem. Noach is halech im Hashem.
Yeah.
Right. We saw that from the base of Avram. Actually, Noach is halech im Hashem. He was metayel im Hashem Gan Eden. That Noah, he would, so to say, stroll with Hashem in Gan Eden. Whatever that's, it's very big again because the purity of the eyes. But now, let's understand something. Let's see the similarities. Okay? Noach was in the Teva and he didn't. The Medrash says that he was not very comfortable in the Teva. You know that he wasn't very comfortable. You can imagine, right? He didn't really have fresh air. He had all the animals. He had all of the garbage and all of the waste from the animals.
He also couldn't be together with his partner.
He couldn't. No. There was no relate. Right. Rashi brings that down. Right.
Sleep.
They went.
He didn't sleep.
He didn't. Well, how could you sleep with all those animals?
Right. There's no time to sleep.
Talk about bad neighbors.
No. It's a very interesting thing. And also, if you think about it, in the Teva, there was the machlekes whether there was a chalon, right? It was a chalon. Was it a chalon or was it an even tova? Was it a precious stone? Right? That's the difference of different. There are different types of tzaddikim. Right? There are some tzaddikim, as we'll see it later, Mitzvah Hashem from the Kedushas Levi. They're to themselves. Right, they're to themselves. They don't give anything off. They're a tzaddik, as they said, like we were saying the other day in Shir, that's a tzaddik in pelts. You ever hear that? A tzaddik in pelts? A tzaddik in pelts is a tzaddik that he has a fur coat. He takes care of himself. He doesn't care about others. But then there's others that go out. Then there are others that go out. Now, Noach was saved in a teva. Right? Noach was saved in a teva. Moshe Rabbeinu was also saved in a teva. See the similarity, right?
Yes, he was.
Right?
Oh, wow.
Noach was saved in the Teva, and Moshe Rabbeinu was saved in that Teva again.
And the details, I think Noach's Teva also had tar on it, right?
Yes. No, Noach had tar. Noah's Teva had tar, sure. That was one of the things he didn't like.
Right. Only the inside was different.
Yeah, but still the tar, it was a very uncomfortable experience. Now let's look at another similarity.
More comfortable
How many?
for Noah,
What?
right?
What?
They changed the inside. It was more comfortable for Noah.
No. I think Moshe's table was more comfortable. They put little padding in there and everything.
No,
Miriam.
That's only with the smell that actually brings it.
Yeah, there's different. Again, Shivim Panim LaTorah. Right? There are 70 different explanations. We're going to take this approach now. It's not to say that the other approach is incorrect. Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim. Right? They're all correct. They're just different ideas and different ways of looking at things. Okay? So we're going to take this approach. Now, how long was Noach building the Teva for? 120 years. 120 years the man was building the Teva. How many years did Moshe live?
120.
120. So now what's the connection? Moshe lives 120 years. Noach is building the Teva for 120 years. What's going on during this building project? right? This is the first recorded building project, right, in the world, right? He must have got permits, right, to build his teva, right? Could you imagine? This was the first building project. So Noach is standing there building, he's ordering these big lumber, and he's building his teva. And people ask, what are you doing? Oh, Hashem is going to make a flood, so I'm making the box. Hashem told me to make but he didn't help them to do tshuva. He didn't daven for Hashem. Where after the flood, Noah came out, and Noah started crying when he saw the destruction. Right? And what did Hashem say to him? Raya Shatya, you're a foolish shepherd. Why didn't you cry before the flood? Why are you crying now? And why did you cry before? Why are you crying now? Raya Shati, you're a foolish shepherd.
You didn't realize what's going to happen.
But listen, obviously, Noach is Alechim Hashem. He understood. Hashem said he's going to make the flood. Right? He understood that. Right? He understood that. There's a from the Noam Elimelech. It has a beautiful understanding that Noach, Hashem had to tell him to go into the teva. He had to tell him to go into the teva. Why did Hashem tell him? Had to give him a command to go into the teva? Fascinating. The Noam Elimelech says like this. Noach was believing that if I stand outside, it started raining already. It started raining. So if I'm going to stand outside, perhaps Hashem doesn't want to drown me and my family. So perhaps he won't make the flood. Now, Hashem says, go in the teva. Go in the teva. But again, Noach did not daven for he didn't think of that. Look at Moshe Rabbeinu, his whole life. He's putting his life on the line. Now, something very interesting. Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, you're going to love this. I think you're going to love this. Shlomo, I think you're going to love this. Listen to this. Yeah. We were learning this in the class the other day with Moshe Rabbeinu, right? So when it came to the Ched Ega, when it came to the Ched of the golden calf, so Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem said, what? I want to destroy the Jewish people and make Klal Yisrael from you, right? I want to destroy the Jewish people, I'll make Klal Yisrael. Moshe says, no, im no, macheni no mi sifrecha. Im no, macheni no mi sifrecha. Wait a minute, now, let's look at the words. What is how do you spell the word macheni? Yeah? Me Noach. Oh. I am going to make the tikkun. Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, in macheni, no, he could have said differently. He could have said he should erase or something else. He had to use the word macheni. There's other words to say. There's other ways he could have said that I don't want to be in your book. Macheni. He says, I'm here making a tikkun for Noach. I am not gonna be the same. I'm not gonna make that same mistake by you say I'm gonna destroy the Jewish people and I'm not gonna say anything. Macheni no. Now, please, now. Let's do this now. I gotta fix it now. No means please. No can also mean now. Right? Let's fix this now. I don't want to come back again. I don't want to be Megalgal again. I don't want to come back here again. I want to fix this now. Unbelievable. Right? Unbelievable.
Wouldn't that be God going back on his word of not destroying the world, or he was just planning on destroying the nation of Israel?
No. Again, Hashem says something, but he wants the tzaddik always to be mevatel the gezerah. Right? The tzaddik is able to, Hashem puts out the gezerah, but we know that tzaddik can come in, the tzaddik can be mevatel the gezerah of Hashem. He can nullify the statement of Hashem. Right? And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing. It's fascinating. So you see the connection. There's a resemblance between Noach, the story of Noach, how many years he was building the Teva, for 120 years. Moshe happens to live exactly 120 years. Same amount of time. Noach doesn't say anything to help the people. Moshe Rabbeinu's whole life, he's fighting for the Jewish people. His entire existence, right? He was fighting from the time he walked out and he saw the Mitzri that hit the Jew. Remember, Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Mitzri. There was an Egyptian guy that was hitting a Jew. So Moshe Rabbeinu went over, and it said he looked into the generations, and he saw nobody was going to come from this Mitzri. In other words, he won't be Megayer, he won't nothing. No one's going to come. And he used the shame, one of the shames of Hashem, and he was able to knock the Mitzri out. And that's what it said. Now, by HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked in the future of Noach, what the Gemara said, who's going to come, who is going to actually come from Noach? Who's going to come from Noach? Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik was also in jail. Yosef HaTzadik was put in jail. Noach felt like he was sitting in jail when he was in his teva. Could you imagine that? Hashem took away the sun. He took away the moon. There was no light in the world at all. There was no light in the world at all. It was the darkest time of history. And Hashem was destroying everything. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then you see now, okay, another amazing resemblance. Here's another one. We know that when Adam Arishon was kicked out of Gan Eden, when he was kicked out of Gan Eden, right, after he ate from the tree, the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra, the tree of knowledge, good and bad, right? So Hashem made for him a certain special coat. He made for him a special coat that had on it an embroidery of all the animals. Every animal was on this coat. And Hashem gave it to him to protect him from being from the animals.
This is Esau.
No, this was Adam Arishon. Hashem gave it to Adam.
Okay.
He gave, we're going to go through the history. 1 second. He gave this coat to Adam Arishon. And Adam Rishon was wearing this coat, and therefore when he came into the world, the animals did not attack him. He was over the animals because he had this coat. This coat was given over to Noach. Noach had the coat. We know the famous story that there was one day a lion that pounced on Noach, and that's what he caused him to have a limp. The Medrash says there was one day a lion pounced, one morning the lions pounced on him. You know why? Noach didn't put on his coat. So the lion wasn't scared of him. That day he didn't put on his coat.
But he forgot to feed him.
No. Again, Shivim Panim LaTorah, okay? We're going with this school of thought, okay? We're just going to try to follow this through, okay? Now, we know that this very same coat was given to Noach. From Noach, the coat was actually stolen, was taken by Nimrod. Nimrod stole the coat. Nimrod stole the coat from Noach. Okay? Came along Esav. Esav stole the coat, killed Nimrod, and took the coat. Came Yaakov Avinu, now we're going ahead a couple of years, right? So when it came to the brachas, of giving the brachas, so Rivka told Yaakov to go get Esav's coat, his clothing. What coat was that? That was the original coat. That was the original coat from Adam that went to Noach, that went to Nimrod, that now Esav has, and he put that coat on. And then it says that Yaakov Avinu made a coat for Yosef, a very colorful coat. Which coat do you think that was? That same very coat. Right? He made the Ksainis Pasam, right? He made the Ksainis Pasam. The Ksainis Pasam was that very coat that Hashem made for Adam, that he gave to Adam, that it was passed down to Noah, that was taken by the Chad Gadya, right? Right, we can sing the Chad Gadya, right? It was given to Nimrod. Nimrod was taken from Esav. Esav took to Yaakov. Yaakov took the coat and he gave the coat to Yosef. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think Yaakov got rubbed on the way, right?
He got what?
Midrash, he says that he got rubbed.
He got
the son of
no, but Eliphaz.
Right?
No, that's a different. That's something else. No, that was when Yaakov Avinu. No. That when he was running away. When Yaakov was running away because he took the blessings, so Esav had sent out Eliphaz to kill Yaakov, right? So Yaakov Avinu, he met up with Yaakov, and Yaakov said like this: look, let me tell you, a person that's an ani is choshev kemes. An ani, if a person's a poor person, is as if he's dead. It's as good as dead. So if you take everything from me, what we're going to wind up doing is I'll have nothing, and then it's as if you fulfilled your father's command to kill me because you took everything from me. Right. But he didn't have the code then, because if he had the code then, he couldn't give it over to. So no, obviously he got it back later. And when he went back to Yaakov, remember he went back after 21 years. Mm-hmm. Right, he stayed in Lavan he stayed with Lavan for 21. What?
14,
no. No, it was 21.
14 and then another 7. Yeah.
Right, he was there for 20. That was how he made his wealth. Right, he worked in. He made the deal with him. The sheep that'll be speckled or striped will be my sheep. Right, there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn in here. It's really unbelievable. In the Parsha,
he probably got it back after all these years.
You what?
After he got it back after the 21 years.
He got it back. Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah. Okay.
How can it say Yaakov made the coat for him when it was just given over?
Right.
Maybe he altered it a little bit. Maybe it was may have been worn down a little bit. So he spruced it up a little bit. So in halacha, if you do what's called the makkah b'patish, right? In halacha on Shabbos, right? You only over if you did something, a malacha of building something, if you do the makkah b'patish, the final blow, right? You put the final nail in, you polish it, or whatever you do to make it to finish it. So maybe perhaps Yaakov Avinu, he did something to perfect it and he gave it. Okay, that's okay. Now another thing, the Torah also tells us that we have introduced the keshes, the rainbow is introduced in the parsha as well. Right? Because Adam Arishan came out of the Teva, and Adam Arishan was a little bit skeptical. He says, wait, I'm going to go rebuild the world now. I'm going to go rebuild the cities and everything. And Hashem, you're going to destroy the world again. So then, no, so Hashem said, no, I make you a deal. I won't destroy the world again. And whenever you see the sign of a rainbow, you know that I was intending to destroy the world, but this is my bris. I made the treaty with the world that I will not destroy the world with a flood. And then Adam Arishan was appeased. Noach was appeased by that, and Noach said okay. And Noach was, and that's why Noach was able to go on. He was going to go on. Now we know at the end of the parsha also Noach he came out of the Teva and he built grew a vineyard, right? A kramim, right? He made a vineyard, right? Right. He made the kramim. So what happened when he made this? He got drunk. He got drunk. So how do you go? Let's think about it. How do you go from the beginning of the parsha? Noach is tzaddik hayatamim b'dayre sav. The next thing you know, Noach is drunk. And he's lying there, not covered properly, right? And then with the 3 sons and come, and then he this and all the. How do you come for that? Because if you you do a little bit, you go a little bit. The fact that he was starting to drink and he wasn't doing things for the right, whatever. The next thing leads to the next and the next and the next, and that's why it's so important that we always have to ask ourselves before we do anything: is this going to bring kvod shemayim? If I do this now, is that going to bring kavod to Hashem?
Was it the fact that he was appeased by the rainbow that now he felt relaxed?
Maybe. But again, but the lesson that we take from that is we have to be very careful of what we do, and we have to be very careful what we see. We can take that from the parsha as well, what we see and so on. And now a rainbow is also something very interesting. You ever see the rainbow? The rainbow is a semicircle. Right? The rainbow is a semicircle. Then the rainbow's beautiful, right? The rainbow looks very pretty. It's beautiful. So why would Hashem make such a beautiful thing as to show his anger? You ever think of that?
To show his anger?
No. The rainbow is there. The rainbow only comes around, right, when Hashem is angry at things in the world. So he displays his anger by making the rainbow. He displays the anger by making the rainbow, right? So it's a semicircle, right? Why is it a semicircle? Because sometimes to get to the rainbow, you have to go through a lot of suffering, right? And then that you don't see. You don't see what gets you to the Yeshua, right? The rainbow is actually the Yeshua's, right? Actually the salvation. Because he was, because the world's not saved. The world was saved. The world's saved. That's the Yeshua.
That's like an apology after somebody blows up at you and hits the crap out of you.
And what do you mean? Well, but Hashem didn't destroy the world. Yeah, no, he didn't. No.
That's considered
but he did. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it. Hashem did not.
It's when he's about to blow up and he says, no.
He's about, but I'm not. And he makes something so nice.
Okay.
He makes something so nice. Because again, we know the fact, we don't understand this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really behind everything in the world. Hashem is really behind everything. And anything anyone ever does, anything anyone ever thinks about this, is all really a plan from Hashem. What are we going to do? How are we going to react to all these different things? Right? People are born to certain families in certain places. Right? And did anyone choose to which family they're going to be born to? I mean, Rav Simcha, did they ask you? Ernie, did they ask you which family you were going to go into? No, they didn't ask you, right? And Zushi, Rav Zushi, did they ask you? They didn't ask you. And then Rav Yehuda, they didn't ask you. No, and they didn't ask Mordechai. No, they didn't ask anyone. Right? But Hashem, and where are you going to live? Where are you going to be born? Right? This is all designed by Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu always wants us to come back. That's what it's all about. Hashem always wants us to come back, to say we're sorry. He wants us to come back. And if we come back, that's the greatest thing. Hashem wants every Jew to come back. We learned this morning in Likutei Halachos, we learned the idea about Yonah and Nineveh. Right? Yonah and Nineveh, right? We read that on Yom Kippur by Mincha, right? Right before Ne'ilah, we read the Haftorah, which is all about Yonah, right? That he cried out from the bet that he was in the belly of the fish. 3 days he's in the belly of the fish. He's crying out to Hashem. But what do we see? That Hashem sent him on this mission to go to Nineveh. Why? Because Hashem even wants the tshuva from Goyim. Hashem even wants the Gentiles to do tshuva. He wants them to return as well. And you see they did. And you see they did in the story. Right? Yonah went to the Melech of Nineveh, went to the king of Nineveh. And what happened? The king said, wow, this is what Hashem said. And we didn't know we were doing something so wrong. We didn't know. He commanded everyone has to fast. And everyone did. They did tshuva. It was an amazing, amazing thing. So really we see from you can make a kal v'chayma. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the nations of the world to do tshuva, alachas kama v'kama, he wants his children to do tshuva. Right? And Hashem wants all of us to come back to him. Right? You understand that? Right? If he wanted, he sent Yonah out to send to the Goyim that they should do tshuva. How much more so does he want us to do tshuva? And then we can always come back to Hashem. Right? We're learning in the morning the idea that it's lesson 12 in Likutei Maran. It's the Torah Ayeh. You call out to Hashem wherever you are. Wherever you are, you can call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ayeh, where are you, Hashem? Ayeh, where are you, Hashem, in my life? Reveal yourself to me. Hashem, I don't feel you in my life. I want to know you, Hashem. Right? Why? Because when a person does an Aveira, what are they doing? They're hiding the covet of Hashem. Right? They hide the glory of Hashem. Right? Hashem created everything in the world for his glory, for his honor. Right? And then we learned about the Maimah Bereshis last week, right? The Maimah Bereshis, right? Hashem said the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, right? There were 10 utterances. But if you count out in Bereshis, Hashem only says, Vayomer Elikim 9 times. It doesn't say 10 times. Comes along, Rabbi Nachman, he says that the Maimah Bereshis is the Maimah Sosam. Remember we learned that, Mordechai, right? Yeah. The Maimer Sosam, that's the hidden statement. It's the hidden statement. From that hidden statement is where anything in the world, any person in the world that wants to say anything against Hashem taps into that hidden statement. They tap into that hidden statement. That's where they could take the wherewithal to take the words from. right? In other words, where did the Nachash HaKadmoni, right? He used words to Chava. He said that Hashem doesn't want you to eat from the tree, because if you eat from the tree, then you'll become a god like God, because God ate from the tree. Wait a second, that was definitely contrary to what Hashem's covenant is, right? That came from the Maimah, that was from the Maimah Sasam. The Maimah Sasam, that secret, the words that were not uttered. That were not uttered. When you say the word Bereshis, you don't know it's a statement. Bereshis means in the beginning. You don't know it's a statement, right? And that's where all the things come from. And that's why whenever we are, and a person does anything wrong, he does something against Hashem's will, right? He's hiding the covenant of Hashem, but when he calls out to Hashem from that place, he brings Hashem to that place. He reveals Hashem in that place. And that's his tikkun. And that's why every Yerida is L'tzorech the Aliyah, right? Every time a person falls down, the purpose is not to fall down. The purpose is to get up and get up higher and stand higher and taller than you stood before. That's the purpose of every Yerida. Okay. So now, does anyone have any questions or anything? We said a lot of stuff over here. Anyone have any questions?
Was the color of the coat the same as color as the rainbow?
That I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah.
It's also interesting that the most immoral movement today's days.
The what?
The immoral movement that's going on.
Oh.
Is their icon is a flag.
A flag, yeah.
Rainbow flag.
Oh, you see that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Rainbow flag.
Okay.
I wonder what do we learn from that?
What movement?
The LGBT.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen. Listen. Let them do what they want. Hashem wants them to do tshuva. Also, Emetz Hashem, they will. Emetz Hashem, they'll do tshuva. Everyone will do tshuva. When the world will come to its final tikkun, of course. And again, I forgot to say, but we learn always for the well-being of the chayalim, the soldiers, the chatufim, the captives, and the pitzuim, the injured. They had a report that as of today, there are 12,000 injured soldiers since October 7th. Can you imagine that number, 12,000?
No.
It's mind-boggling, really. 12,000. But again, I would always like to look at it in a nice way. That Baruch Hashem, they're still alive. They're still alive. And we see that the other day, someone was saying that they saw someone walking around, one of the chayalim walking around with prosthetic legs. Was that in your neighborhood, Mordechai?
No.
No, it wasn't by you. Someone told me.
Said that.
Right? What?
I don't remember who said it, but someone was talking about it.
Yeah, that they saw someone walking around with it. It's amazing that they can do these things in the technology. It's really unbelievable, and the way they the care that they get. Baruch Hashem. But listen, but Hashem should protect them. There shouldn't be any injured, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give this the chayalim the siyata d'shmaya that they need, the heavenly assistance that they need in order to be able to rid the world from the evil, which is really they're the shluchim of the entire world, right? Because these same guys that we're fighting over here really want to destroy the entire Western world, right? Which includes America and England and France and Germany and South Africa and and everywhere else in between, right? Everywhere else in between, right? So that's that. So now let's look at the Torah.
What you said.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned about Moshe that the word that he used, it said there, the main Noach.
Yeah.
Mocheni,
Mei Noach.
And he said that he's going to make a tikkun for Noach, right?
He was telling Hashem, Imna Mocheni. What is he was really saying? Hashem, you can't do this. I can't allow you to do this because I'm not going to be quiet.
Right.
Noach last time was quiet. And then you called him. Why did you call me in my last Gilgal? You called me a Raya Shatya. You called me a foolish shepherd. Now I'm going to be a smart shepherd.
So the question, whether we call it the main Noach because of what Noach did, Because we call them Mabul a lot of times.
Right, the Mabul is known as Mei Noach. Right, we have a Zemer. We have a Zemer on Shabbos. We talk about the Yona Matzah by Noach. Right, Yona Matzah by Noach. Right, we talk about the Noach is the Mei Mabul. Noach is he got the name. He got the name like it was Hurricane Mei Noach. Right.
It's a Gnai, right?
It's not a because he didn't do tshuva. He didn't daven for the people.
That's why it was called after the Mei Noach.
Because it only happened. Really, Bamis, the Svarim talk about this, that really if Noach would have plan A, there's always plan A and plan B. Plan A was Noach will help the world do tshuva. The Torah would have been given then through Noach, because the Torah was given through Moshe. Moshe was only going to be Noach the third time around, right? So the Torah would have been given through Noach. The world would have got the Torah. The world would have accepted the Torah. Mashiach would have came, and everything would have been history. It would have been wonderful. But it didn't work out that way. And because it didn't work that way, we call it the Mei Noach. The flood of Noach, because it didn't work out. And we call it Torah's Moshe.
Right, exactly, yeah.
See that? He gets called the Mei Noach, and it's called Torah's Moshe. See that? So there you have it. Okay, that was a good point. Very good point. Okay. All right, so let's see. You have your booklet over here. We'll learn the first. We have a lesson. I have it open on the screen. And this is a beautiful lesson. We'll do as much as we can. I prepared a whole bunch of things, but we'll do what we can. Here we go. So let's see. Look inside. Eila told us Noach. Shekola told us Sheba'olam Kulam Nimshochem Me'atzadik Hazeh Shezocha Lenase V'Nishma B'Shleimus. Okay, so here we go. Everyone in the world today is only in the world today thanks to who? Noah. Right? We're all descendants of Noah. Everyone. It's fascinating. Right? B'Shleimus Shehu B'chinas Noach. Hey mahayladais mamish ki kol hadoyros nimshochem imenu. All the generations come from Noah. Every generation. We're here today because of a fellow named Noah. Right? If there wasn't Noah and he didn't have the righteousness of Noah, so then the world would have stopped. Everything would have been destroyed. We're only here today because of Noah. So again, people speak about Noach as a Gnai, but hey, you're only here because of Noach, and now you're diminishing Noach, but you're only here because of Noach. Fascinating, right? Okay. All hayladas, all births, all hashpois, all blessing and brachas, kulam nimshachim menu come from him. Kihu bechinas Eden ilo ve'Eden tato. Sheshom hanoah yoytze me'Eden lahashkes esagan. Right, we talked about that idea. We talked last week's Parshah, right? We had the upper waters, the lower waters, and there was the river that was supplying the Gan, right? That we spoke about, right? We know about that. Misham hashpois atavah ki ish tzadik tamim maya b'deirasav hu tzadik tamim b'chol hadoros nimshachem imenu ki hu tzadik tamim. He's the tzadik that's righteous, that's tamim. Right? We could use that, right? The chol hadoros nimshachim imenu come from him. Ki meir bekulam tzidkosei v'kedushasei. Ki es halekim his halech noach. Halekim b'Hashem hayediyah. When it says Hashem b'Noach who is halech el Hashem, it's using Hashem's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's not just a reference to Hashem. It's mamish using Hashem's name. Ba'avaya hayediyah. Hainu ki alekim bechinas midas adin kifi mashu midas adin b'chol dar b'chol eis shezeh bechinas alekim. We know this idea, right? That alekim, right? Alekim is din, right? You have Yud Kei Vav Kei is Rachamim, right? Hashem's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei 26, right? Is Rachamim. Elokim, whenever it's referring to Elokim, it's referring to din. Right? Everyone know that? Right?
Yeah.
Yud Kei Vav Kei is Rachamim. Elokim is din. Yud K Vav K is okay. Let me tell you something else. Here we go.
Would din also be classified as Gevurah as well?
What?
Would din also be classified as Gevurah?
Yeah, din is also Gevurah. Yeah, sure.
I'm saying as far as Elohim goes.
Yeah. The judgment, the Gevurah. Yeah. Listen to this. Listen to this. We say all the time words. So let's try it if we can explain these words for a moment. Okay. You say l'shem yichud kutcha brichu. You ever say l'shem yichud, right? The words go like this: l'shem yichud kutcha brichu shchintei v'dechilu rechimu liyachid shem yud kei bevav kei b'chul l'shlim shem kol yisrael. Remember those words, right? Does anyone know what they're saying when they say those words?
The translation?
Yeah, no. What you're trying to do? Let's explain it. Let me explain it to you. Wait. Let me explain this to you. Listen. We say Hashem's name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? We never mention the letters of Hashem's name. It's very dangerous to mention Yud Kei Hey. You don't mention. You always. That's why it's always pronounced as Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay, that's another thing to know. Whenever when we say l'shem yichud kutcha brichu is known as the vav of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Kutcha brichu is the vav. Ushchinte, shchina, is known as the hey achroina, the last hey. Why is it known as the last hey? That's Malchus. Malchus is bepeh. Malchus is in this world, right? Malchus is in this world. Then we say, b'dechilu urechimu. What's the chilu? Fear. Fear of Hashem. Right? Yiras Hashem. What's rechimu? Ahavas Hashem. Yiras Hashem is the yud. Ahavas Hashem is the hey. So you got that? Again, let's start again. Kutcha brichu is the vav. Shchinte is the final hey. The last hey. B'dechilu is a yud, and the rechimu is the k. Got it? Now and then, what's the next word? The shem yichud shebrichu shchintei b'dechilu urechimu liyachta shem yud k bevav k. Now you're putting it all together. You understand? That's how you put it together. That's how you make the shem b'shem kol Yisrael. Right? You understand? That's an amazing thing of what we're saying when we say anytime you're doing a mitzvah, you say l'shem yichud, right? We did it with the esrog, right? When we did the daled minim, you went to the sukkah. It's a mitzvah to say the l'shem yichud, right? You do anytime you do a mitzvah, right? You put on your talis, you can say l'shem yichud. You put on your tefillin, you say. Now at least you understand what you're saying when you're saying l'shem yichud. How am I making unification? Otherwise, most people you ask them, they wouldn't have any idea. I'm making unification in Hashem's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay, so what is Shechina? What is Kutcha Brichu? What is B'dechilu Rechim? Have to do with this Yud Kei. Now we understand. Okay, so that was just a side thing to understand. Okay, Elikim E'ediyah. Okay, B'din. Kifi Ma'ashem Midas Hadin B'chol Dar B'chol Eish Shazel B'chinas Elikin. Hadin Hayadua Kifi Hadar V'ha'es. His Halech Noach. Noach went in that way. Lahamtikoy ulevatloi ayedesha zochel lenasav v'nishma elyon b'chinas teiras Hashem u'tfilas Hashem. Noach, again, we came to be Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He came to be Moshe Rabbeinu. We all said, as the Jewish people said, what? Nasa v'nishma, right? We all said Nasa v'nishma. Nishma ha'elyon b'chinas teiras Hashem. Sha'yedei zeh yodeya levatel kol minei dinim shabaylam kefi ador kefi ha'es. Where did Moshe Rabbeinu come to understand how to be mevatel the din? How did he know? He learned it out all from the history. He learned it. He figured it out. Moshe Rabbeinu figured, how am I going to be mevatel din? How did he know what to do? How did he know to say mei noach, machenina? How did he know to say that? He understood. He understood what was going on. He understood the history, what happened with Noah. How Noah did nothing. And he said, I'm not going to be the same guy that does nothing. And he understood how to evoke Hashem's Rahmanis. Ad kidei kach. So far so, that through what he did, he pulled out the 13 principles of, the 13 attributes of mercy. The 13 attributes of mercy came out from that. Is that amazing? We didn't have it before.
Where did he learn from Masolet? The story of Noach?
No, he understood that I have to make some repairs. He understood.
And how did he know this story?
How did he know?
Hashem? Did he learn it with Hashem?
Who knows? He was very close with Hashem, and who knows? We don't know. Right? David HaMelech knew that he was a Gilgal of, that he was what do you call? He was only given the 70 years from Adam. Right, that's why David HaMelech lived his life in a way. He was always appreciative to Hashem because he realized he was supposed to be a stillborn. He only had his life because of Adam. Right, Adam was supposed to live 1,000 years. Adam only lived for 930 years. Why? Because he gave 70 years away to David HaMelech. Because David HaMelech is the tikkun for what Adam Rishon did. Right, Mashiach is the tikkun for what he did. Okay, so okay. Ki Noach bechinas amtokas adina bechinas naicha. Adam Rishon is naicha. He gives nacha, his calmness, smoothness. Bechinas Noach matzah chen be'einei Hashem, like we spoke about that was last week's parsha, right? The parsha's Bereshis finishes it. Noach matzah chen be'einei Hashem. What does it mean, Be'einei Hashem? He was able to watch his eyes. Always be careful what he was seeing. He never saw something that was not clean. He didn't look at, like it said, they were looking at the daughters of Adam, right? We learned that before. They were looking at the daughters of Adam, and that led them from looking at the ladies, led them to the dar hashchasa, to the dar that was so immoral. It starts with just seeing. A person will think, well, what does it matter? I saw this. I didn't touch it. I did. No. But again, when you see something, it affects the mind. It fills the mind. We learned the idea. Of that a person has imagination, the koach hadimyan, right? The koach hadimyan, the imagination, right? So when you fill your mind with things that are impure, what are you actually doing? You're filling your mind with that, and now you start imagining those things, and then you want to go and do those things. You understand? So that's why it's better always to learn Torah, to study Torah, to listen to classes of Torah, and to always be involved with Torah, because via doing that, via being involved with Torah, what you're actually doing is you're filling your mind with Torah, and then you think about Torah, you think of Hashem. That's what it's all about. You want to think of Hashem. Right? And Rosh Hashanah, when we come to the Zechronios, right? We're talking about the remembrances. We're remembering Noach. Right? I'm only here because of Noach. Noach was what? He was Matzah Chen Be'einei Hashem. Right? Noach was Matzah Chen, and I'm a descendant of Noach. We remember Noach. Unbelievable. Ki'ika avodas Rosh Hashanah lahamti kadin ba'oisai shebe'oisai Rosh Hashanah shayidei ha'chesed elyon shemamshichin al yidei tfilas Hashem, that you draw through davening to Hashem, tfilas Hashem shezel bechinas told us Noach. You know, all the generations came from Noach. Another understanding of what it means. Noach, the Arizal taught us the other way. Noach, there's 2 times because, again, he was a Gilgal of Yosef, and he was also a Gilgal of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why it says Noach 2 times. That's why it says Tzaddik, we learned, right? Tzaddik, because that was Yosef at Tzaddik, and Tomim, we said, is Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? You understand that? Okay. So now let's look at it. Let's go to the next page. You have the next page. So let's go to the next page. Uvasa lateva. This is fascinating. We have a little bit more time. Okay, here we go. Uvasa lateva. He has to go into the teva. And this is what is brought in the Zayir HaKadosh. He wasn't a shepherd like Moshe. Right? Like we were talking about. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Roya Neman. Right? He was the faithful shepherd. Moshe Rabbeinu is the faithful shepherd. He was not Loya Roya Neman Kimaisha. Shemasa Nafshe B'Shvil B'nei Daira. He wasn't Meiser as ever. He didn't give of himself over. He didn't give of himself over for his generation. He took care of himself. He's making a teva for him and his family. He's protecting him and his family. He didn't say to Hashem, listen, Hashem, but what am I doing this for? And he didn't go out to talk to the people, to try to help them be Megaya, to help them do tshuva, which is what Avraham Avinu did. Next week's Parsha. Right? Lech Lecha, right? It's a nefesh asher also b'choron. Right? The nefesh that he made in Choron. What does that mean? That he made Balei Tshuva in Choron. He made Balei Tshuva. He was preaching to the choir. He was preaching to the people. He went into the town squares and he was preaching to help them to understand that there's Hashem in the world. Right? They were all pagans. Right? They were all pagans. Right? They were all pagans. There's a school of thought. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu introduce Karbanis to us? To wean us off the paganism. To wean us off the paganism. We were so involved in paganism.
Who weaned us off?
What? The karbanas. We'll bring the sacrifices to Hashem. Interesting, right?
But they would also do.
He liked that. Shlomo liked that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They would also do karbanas.
Yeah, but then
They would do it. They would slaughter their own kids, and they would do all these other things. And that's why again Hashem tested Avraham Avinu. Right? Let's think about this test from Avraham Avinu when it came to the Akedah. I know we're jumping around, but it's something very interesting to think about.
It's very ADD friendly, by the way. This is great.
You like that? It's good. We're jumping around. You like that? He likes it. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Okay. Hey, wait. What is Avraham Avinu preaching his entire life? Hashem is kind. Hashem is good. Don't sacrifice your kids to your idols. Don't do that. Don't do that. He's an old man. He's not a young man. He's doing this for a long time. And then Hashem tells him, when Yitzchak is just 37 years old. Yitzchak was 37 years old. So how old was Avraham? He was an old man. Right? He was 99, 100. Now he must have been 100 and he must have been about 137 years old. And Hashem said, go take your son and slaughter him. Hashem, wow. Whoa. All my life, I'm telling people don't do that. And now I'm going to do it myself? What kind of hypocrite am I going to be?
He won't tell them.
But he doesn't say that.
Because his ego wasn't involved.
He doesn't say that. It didn't matter. But could you imagine if your entire life you're preaching something, and then you have to take your own son that Hashem just told you, that from him is going to come the nation. And he went contrary to everything Hashem told him, but he didn't care. Hashem says, now I got to do this, I'll go do it. It's amazing if you think about what really happened. Right? And that's why we speak about, again, that's why we speak about the Akedah on Rosh Hashanah. Right? Look at what a big item this was. This was a very important item in Klal Yisrael, right? Very, very important. When you think, you have to spend time to think about who Avraham Avinu was, what was his character, what was the character of Avinu? What was all his ideals in life? And yet he went over everything he spoke about all his life. And he went to go slaughter al Echad HaHorim. On one of the mountains, Hashem didn't even tell. We learned this morning, right? We were learning that this morning. He didn't even tell him which mountain to go to. That was the test. That was all Avraham. The tzaddikim were also tested.
To see if he'll wait a further instructions?
Just to desire more. Right? The next week's Parsha, right? Lech lecha al eretz asher areka. Go to a land. Go out to a land that I'm going to show you. I'll advise you. What do you mean advise you? Don't tell me where it is? Come on, think about it. Those were the tests. Those were the tests of Avraham Avinu. Look at what a mammon was. He traveled all the way from Mesopotamia, right? All the way over there, right? It's over about 1,500 kilometers from Eretz Yisrael, right? He travels, makes a long journey, right? He gets there, Eretz Yisrael. What happens when he gets there, Eretz Yisrael? There was a hunger. There was a famine. So what does he have to do? He has to go down to Mitzrayim. Does he say a word to Hashem? Did he complain at all? Hey Hashem, you took me out of my place. What would we have done? Could you imagine that? Right? Can you imagine you take a trip now, you have to go by foot. Right? There were no planes. Yeah, no, you go. Okay, there were no planes. There was nothing really. And he goes by, and then he comes unbelievable. But look, let's just do another few lines here. Shemasa nafshe b'shvil b'nei doira. Ki noach lo bikesh rachem im kol kach afilu Avram shebikesh v'yispalo al anshe Sodom v'Amora. Came Abraham Avinu. Right? The Malach came and told them we're going to destroy Sodom and Amorah. Abraham says, wait, hold on. Maybe there's 50 people, 45, 40, 35, 30, maybe 10. Look at this. Unbelievable.
Noach didn't do this.
Noach didn't do that at all. Right. Noach didn't do that at all. Avaloi Moshe, shemasa nafshe b'Yosef Amar, im ayin mocheni nami sifrecha. Moshe Rabbeinu put his neck on the line, mamish. He could have been okay with it. Hashem says, hey, I'm going to destroy the Jewish people. I'll make the new nation with you. He could have said, okay. No. Mocheni nami sifrecha. I'm not going to fall into the same trap as Noach. Mocheni, may Noach. I'm not going to fall into that same trap. I'm not going to fall into that same trap.
On the other hand, Noach was staying outside of the ark to save everyone. He didn't make a difference to look, there's tzaddikim, there's...
Yeah.
Said, let's save everyone.
He could have saved everyone. He could have saved everybody. Noach could have saved... But Noach could have worked over the last 120 years. Right. Not in the last moment. This is a long project. Right? He's working on this project for 120 years. That's why we said Moshe was 120. He lived 120 years because he was the tikkun. In all those 120 years, he was fighting for the people to make the tikkun for Noah. The Arizal says that really a person, the Neshama, has only 3 times to come back as a person. Then he can come back after the 3rd time as something else. Can come back as an animal, as a fish, as something else. 3 times. Moshe Rabbeinu said, hey, wait a second. I was Noach. I was Moshe, I was Yosef, now I'm Moshe, I'm not coming back again as a fish. I'm going to take care of with the Mochena, Mei Noach. Right, like you said, it's called Mei Noach, right? It's called the Mei Noach, there you have it. Mocheni, Mei Noach, okay? Now, V'im ayim achinir, ki be'emes ha-tzadik hador, ha-kol toli boy. The tzaddik of the generation, everything's dependent on him. What he does for the generation. That's why it's so important that we have the tzaddikim and we follow what the tzaddikim. Ki lefi oitzim zechusai, because how powerful his merits are. The merit of the tzaddik, the kedushasai, and his holiness. Kein yochel legalos beyoser chesed anela. He can reveal that chesed that's hidden. He can find Hashem's Rahmanis. And that's what that's what Moshe Rabbeinu did. He tapped back in. He said, take me out. I don't need to be in this way. I want to go back to nothing. I want to go to that place of the abundant Rahmanis, of the Maimer Sasim, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't even have any names in that place. That transcends names. It transcends everything. And from there I could pull out the Rahmanis. And he did. Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, right? The 13 attributes of the attributes of mercy. He was able to pull it out. Kein yochel legalos b'yosar chesed. Shayadei zeh hachesed hu yochel lekayem es ha'olam. He can keep the world in existence. Bechol eis afilu im ha'olam rechoikim k'may shehem rechoikim. Even if the people are distant, the tzaddikim know how to come to the compassion of Hashem that's endless, that's boundless. And HaKadosh Baruch has enough compassion to forgive anybody for anything if they just want to ask Him. Ask Him, Hashem, I want you to please forgive me. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will forgive the person. That's all He wants. He wants us to be man enough to own up to our mistakes. Right? To own up to him and say, not like other Mauritians said. He said, Hashem said, so what happened? Oh, you gave me this wife. It's her fault. He passed the buck. Right? He came to Chava. Right? He asked Chava, what happened? Oh, the snake. She passed the buck. Adam could have said, I'm sorry. Chava could have said, she's sorry. And everything would have been fine. Everything would have been fixed.
Right. He could have made also the tikkun on the Gzera. That Hashem made on the road.
Exactly.
He could have fixed it.
He could have fixed it. He didn't fix it. But Moshe, he got it. Moshe's the tzaddik and he got it. Right? Chesed nelam. Pogam klav yicholim l'kayim ha'olam tamid. Aval hakol toli b'koyach hatzadik hador daik. It's all dependent on the tzaddikim of the dar, of the generation. Ki be'emes Hashem is boras olam b'chazdai. Hashem, we know it's olam chesed yibana. Right? Hashem made the world with chesed. Levad shehu ha-chesed. It's alone chesed. Hashem olam chesed yibana. Hashem built the world with chesed. Bechinas olam chesed yibana aval acha shebara olam hakol toli b'atzadik hadar. After Hashem made the world b'chesed, now it's up to the tzaddik to reveal the chesed. We don't always find the chesed, but the tzaddikim are there to help us reveal the chesed that's hidden. Ki kefi koicha yiritzaynai came mekayim olam, because according to the rotzen of the tzaddik, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is oiseh gezerah, and the tzaddik comes and he's mevatel the gezerah. Right? Hashem makes the gezerah, makes a decree, and the tzaddik can come and he can overturn the gezerah of Hashem. And Hashem has so much nachas when the tzaddik can do that. Hashem loves, he wants to be overpowered. Hashem wants to be overpowered. Because again, the principle that he built the world was olam chesed yibana. So if he has a decree, the tzaddik can easily uproot the decree to reveal the chesed. You understand? So that's what it's all about. So I think we're out of time on the lesson over here. Does everyone understand everything that we learned? Does anyone have anything to say? Ernie, you want to say anything? You can unmute. No, you have to unmute. I can't hear you. Push the unmute button. Reb Zushia, do you have anything to say?
Nothing to say, Reb. Yeshua.
It was okay? Yeshua, thank you. I give you Yeshua for joining. And Reb Zushia, and Reb Yehuda, and everyone else that's on here. Okay, everyone. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbos and a good Chodesh. Don't forget. Erev Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh, Macheshvan. So we should all have a beautiful, beautiful Chodesh. We should all hear Besora Tovot, good tidings. And we should all be Zoichet and Mirz Hashem together. To greet Mashiach Tzidkenu, to march to Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, with the building of the third base of Mikdash, B'Kara B'Yameinu. I thank everyone for joining Kol Tuv.